Risk identification or risk discovery is an iterative process. It needs to be invoked throughout the project lifecycle on a regular basis and also when major project events occur. For example, when the customer initiates a significant change request, the impact analysis should include a review of current risks as well as any new risks introduced by the proposed change. Risk perceptions tend to vary a lot from person to person. Therefore, it is important to involve key project stakeholders in risk discovery, including customers as appropriate. In specialized areas in which the organization does not have much experience, external consultants and domain experts can be part of the risk discovery team. Risk discovery, apart from stakeholder interactions that we talked about, should also include a review of the items mentioned in the slide. They are all potential sources of risk. We will cover these with examples in the next few slides. Among the many sources of project risk, scope and WBS are very important. Here is an example. Take a few moments to study it. Here is another example of scope and WBS as sources of risk. Do you see how a verbal description of an animal can be misinterpreted? Lack of precision and miscommunication in scope and WBS development are significant sources of risk in software projects. Here we will talk about another key source of risks in projects: assumptions. In order to develop and execute a project plan, very often a number of assumptions need to be made. Some typical project assumptions are shown in the slide. The characteristic of assumptions is that they turn out to be false, sometimes with warning and sometimes without warning. That results in a change in the basis of the project plan and may impact agreed project goals. If newly recruited team members do not join as assumed, the project schedule may need to change. If the communication link turns out to be inadequate for the expanded project team, it may need to be upgraded, resulting in the upward revision of project cost. Another characteristic of assumptions is that sometimes they are hidden, especially those which are implicit, arising from deep down technical decisions made by the project team. A few of such hidden assumptions are listed in the slide. Obviously, unstated and implicit assumptions pose a considerable threat to schedule and cost goals of the project. They become visible often suddenly at a critical stage in the project, leaving the project team ill-prepared to deal with the situation. If the impact of the assumption is high, there is little option except to firefight. We have already looked at scope as a possible risk source. Scope is expected to address quality requirements as well as functional requirements. However, in practice, we often find that quality requirements do not receive adequate attention as a risk source. Hence this slide with some examples. The generic risk here is that the quality requirement may not be achievable within the project goals of schedule and cost. Take a few moments to study the examples. Have you encountered similar quality or non-functional requirements in your project? How did you manage them from a risk point of view?